State arms manufacturer Denel says it needs at least 230 million rand in working capital to keep the business afloat and to pay salaries. The company paid employees only part of their May salaries, and it told Parliament today it's still unclear whether it will have the cash to pay full June salaries. For more on this, we're joined by Lindsay Dentlinger in Cape Town. So will or won't Denel actually pay employees' salaries at the end of this month, Lindsay?
Shahan, as it stands this evening, we don't have a definitive answer. Denel telling Parliament today that most of its cash is tied up in contracts that it cannot receive the money for. It says it cannot blame the lockdowns specifically for the position that it finds itself in, that it just doesn't really have any cash flow. And it has about 400 million rand tied up in contracts. Of course, it couldn't export during the lockdown period, but this is part of the reason that they haven't yet quite worked out how much money exactly they'll have in the bank to be able to pay employee salaries. We know in May, the highest level of staff only received around 20% of their salaries, while the lower earning employees earned their full salaries. So right now, Denel unclear whether they will be able to pay salaries at the end of this month.
Shocking, isn't it? So considering all these liquidity problems, how well is Denel doing in implementing that turnaround strategy?
Well, we really got a picture of two sides of the coin today. The executive, the CEO, Danny du Toit, very upbeat, positive that they are making the right steps and taking the right action to turn around the arms manufacturer, and says it should be viewed on the same level as Eskom and SAA, as one of those state-owned enterprises that the country really needs and that can really work for the state if it is run correctly. He says they have shut down entities that have proven not to be viable for the business and also cancelled contracts that are unviable. But the bottom line is that despite 576 million rand it received in a form of a bailout earlier this year, it just doesn't have cash money to keep going. But the board chairperson, Monhla, saying that this really, the position that they find themselves in has really been a long time coming and not something overnight. Let's take a listen to what she told Parliament.
We have been experiencing liquidity challenges for more years than the 2 years that we have been here as a board of directors. And yes, there is a challenge, and we have gone back historically to look at what could be the root cause for a company such as this to continue to depend on guarantees or on cash injections from the state to run its operations when in fact it is positioned in such a way that it can create revenue from international sources as well from within the country. Yes, there is a challenge. And if you ask me the second question, can this situation be stabilized? The answer is yes, it can. But unfortunately, it's going to take a lot of pain to get there.
All right, we're going to leave it right there. Lindsay Dentlinger is in Cape Town.